to me, it always starts with very easily understanding yourself by understanding why do you get triggered and by what actually triggers you because when you're triggered you become emotionally dysregulated. And I want to explain so that we're all on the same page with what we mean by emotionally dysregulated or emotional dysregulation. It's referring to that inability to manage your emotional response in a healthy way. So think of, explosive reactions, violent reactions, having very intense emotions, difficulty controlling impulsive behaviors, uh, and struggling to regulate your mood swings, which obviously can lead to challenges within your relationships, work, school, your life in general. And I always find it interesting, and I think so. Nachi knows this, and anyone close to me knows this, that I am a huge fan of dating reality shows.
Yes, you
And
love it.
so it's not just any reality shows because w- many reality shows they thrive off of people being emotionally dysregulated. So I can't just watch any reality show because I have to temper external external content that could then affect me, right? But that's why I enjoy the dating ones because I really honestly should have been an anthropologist. I should have studied that because I love to observe culture and how humans react within this society and what leads them to their decision making. So for me, dating is always fascinating because there's so many things that I wouldn't do what I see on TV, but that is because of how I was raised, just who I am as an individual. So I find it fascinating when people move differently. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
well,
what?
even the time that you grew up in, so all that is
Yeah,
different than,
exactly. Just a
dating back
different
then is
generation,
different. Yeah,
all of
is
it.
different today. Yep, yep.
But I bring it up because what kind of like brought to mind this idea of like us discussing emotional manipulation was watching season 7 of Love Island USA. And it was it was like the perfect example of it was like a microcosm of today's society in that you have an emotionally dysregulated individual just having crazy outbursts that in my opinion were extreme, unnecessary, and just not a healthy way of communicating and controlling their not even controlling but regulating their emotions, like allowing someone else to dysregulate you so much that you're just like crazy outbursts, impulsive behavior, and you're affecting not just yourself but everyone else in that villa. So it irritated me to no end.
Right.
That being said, it then showed individuals with what I would say were healthy boundaries, and they're like, I need a moment, I can't talk to you right now. But the reaction of the fans throughout the season is what blew my mind because I felt like I was being gaslit by the fans.
So, please explain.
The fans were loving the emotionally dysregulated person to the point that in my opinion her behavior was being coddled, right? They're just like, well, she was triggered. It was everyone else's fault for why she reacted the way she did. And
And do
then
you think, just for
yeah,
a second, do you think part of people going after those dysregulated, these emotional dysregulated folks, um, are pretty much projecting their own issues? Like, I feel like they were suppressed at a certain time in their, it could be with their childhood where they were suppressed, and now they see someone being suppressed in some kind of way that they feel they're being
actually,
suppressed. And
one
they're reacting as if they were in that situation.
percent projection. Because to me, this is again not to say that this person wasn't dragged in the beginning. She was.
Right.
But
Right.
then then she became a victim, and everyone is like, so when it came time for other people in the villa to set their boundaries, express their frustration, the problem was that when they did that, then it became, "Were you setting boundaries? Oh, you trying to tell her something? Now you're a mean girl." So then they painted people who were actually more emotionally regulated as
Right.
mean girls. And I was just like mind blown, because let me tell you this right now. If that were me, I would be mean girl from day one, because
Right.
I
Yeah.
live with boundaries.
Yeah.
And the problem that arose from that experience was that the people that were the most emotionally regulated, they held back from the beginning of being more upfront with those individuals that were emotionally dysregulated, because you try to keep the peace, you try to coddle certain people, you don't really
Right.
know them, this is a TV show.
Right.
But had they set their boundaries from the beginning and been more clear throughout, and not let it get to the point where they became frustrated, and so when they expressed their boundaries, yeah, they didn't say it nicely, they were tired, they were just like, they were calling people out, they were calling that individual out on on the shit that she was doing wrong. And then it became like, oh, she's being ganged up on. No, people are just tired of her shit. And so
Right.
I say all this because when I watched that show and I watched the fans' reaction, number one, it was a lot of new fans that watched it, and they were all under 18. A
Of
lot of the.
course. Yes.
So I'm just like, number one, get your frontal lobes developed before you even really engage in this. You shouldn't even be watching the show, to be honest.
True. True.
And so then, I'm like, who's going to argue with teenagers? I'm not going to do it. Don't come at me. I don't really care.
Right.
So, so all of that to say is just that I was just shocked at, oh, when you become emotionally regulated and people don't like it, people don't like your boundaries, this is the reaction you're going to get. And that is because, like you so astutely observed, is that a lot of this is projection of why people supported that kind of behavior. And so I go back to, why do you get so easily triggered, or what, or not even so easily triggered, because maybe you're not easily triggered, but the idea of like, when you're triggered, what do you do in that moment? Do you stop, and before you react? And part of that is like training yourself, conditioning yourself, because it's not something that you can do overnight, but you could do it with the little things that trigger you, so that by the time those bigger triggers come, you're better equipped to handle that. And
Right.
so it's just like, for me, I when something's bothering me, and I'm like, why do I feel funny, why do I feel triggered, I have to sit with myself and ask myself, why this, why that. And so, and usually it comes to, in my opinion, about when you feel you're triggered and you're asking yourself those questions, it's then, did you have boundaries in place so that wouldn't occur for you?
Right. Right.
And if you did you communicate those boundaries? Because you people have boundaries, but then the person that they're engaging with doesn't know that.
Yes.
So you
Absolutely.
can't put that responsibility on them. You know, going back to that Love Island season, while yes, she reacted a certain way, y'all also created an environment that allowed her, that she felt it was okay to react this way. Now, granted, there's editing, so maybe some people have said like, oh yeah, no, well, we did call her out, we did say this. They didn't show it. It's 1 hour out of a 24-hour day, which was unfortunate, because, and it's not me bashing this one particular individual. I hope she gets better. I think she needs help. I mean, yeah, she does.
Right. Right.
And so, but it's just this idea of like, okay, did you communicate those boundaries?
Yeah, and I think
Sometimes
that's
you
the
can't make those
key.
assumptions, right? You can't
Right.
make that assumption.
And it goes, like you said, it goes back to setting those boundaries.